on this Thursday night. What's been going on in the sports world? Well, we've got some things to get to for sure. We're going to talk NFL playoffs. Is it Buffalo season? We'll try to get to that here tonight. We've got a social media soundbite. We've got buy or sell. We've got Bob Williams coming in to talk about the latest college basketball betting scandal. What does it mean from a legal perspective? Bob's going to give us the breakdown on that. And then coming up at 7:15, Fred Hoiberg and the case for patience. Got some thoughts on the state of coaching in the two highest levels of sports, both college and professional coaching, that I think are extremely relevant. We'll close it out with our closing arguments, and we'll get you on your way for your Thursday night. But right now, we open the show, as always, brought to you by Bellevue University. If you've got educational goals, Bellevue can help you reach them. You can do it online. You can do it in person. They've got undergraduate. They've got masters. They've got your degree ready to go for you. They can help you out with financing it and getting your degree. Check out bellevue.edu. Well, Dylan's a duck, and you've probably heard from everyone on this topic except the After Hours crew, of course, because this is, as I mentioned, our first show of the week. So last to the party, but here we go. Dylan Raiola is transferring to Oregon. It's the thing that I came on this show and told you I didn't think would happen. Newsflash, I'm wrong again. Nothing new. I just didn't think it was a fit from a scheme, from a offensive philosophy, Dylan had Adidas sponsorships. That's very obviously a Nike school. It just never felt like that was going to be the landing spot until it just was quiet for a long time because Oregon was still alive in the playoff. And then you start to wonder, maybe it is Oregon. Maybe it was going to be Miami. There was some speculation. I kind of thought it was going to be Miami, honestly. That seemed like a better fit to me. It is not. It is Oregon. Didn't make sense to me. Obviously, it does to Dan Lanning. And who am I to question Dan Lanning? I still just don't think he's the type of quarterback. When you think about who they've had in Eugene, Oregon, Dylan Gabriel, pretty mobile guy, a little non-traditional style. Before him, it was Justin. You had Justin Herbert was in that program. Like, there's just been a lot of guys who can really move their feet. Dylan's not that guy, but maybe, Dan Lanning's a good coach. You assume they'll adapt to his strengths. And now we get the word today that Dante Moore's coming back, or I guess maybe it was yesterday, that he's going to forego the NFL draft and come back to school for one more year. So it looks like Dylan Raiola will sit on the bench. I would imagine he takes a red shirt and gets fully healed up. I don't think he's going to use a year of eligibility sitting behind Dante Moore. I would imagine there's a red shirt year built in here. But ultimately, I don't like it. I don't like it for Dylan, and I don't like it for Oregon. Oregon's been extremely successful. They haven't been winning national titles, true, but look at their win-loss record compared to almost every program in the country over whatever period of time you want to look back, all the way before Chip Kelly. Like, they're one of the winningest programs in the country. They just win. They win a ton of games. And it doesn't seem like Dylan Raiola is the missing link to get them over the hump to that next level, to that winning a national title, top of the pyramid kind of program. It doesn't, based on what we've seen from Dylan Raiola at Nebraska, it doesn't feel like he's that guy. Like, he's the thing. They've had multiple quarterbacks now that are in the NFL currently, guys who are like Justin Herbert's absolutely one of the best in the game at his position. He didn't get him to that level. Dylan Gabriel, who started some games this year, didn't get him to that level. Marcus Mariota was a guy who was started many, many seasons in the NFL, didn't get him to that level. Played for a title but lost. Dylan Raiola, the guy that gets them over the hump, doesn't feel like it. Now, the other thing that has come out this week that I thought was really interesting is there were some rumblings from various folks on the interwebs that possibly Nebraska didn't even make an attempt to retain Dylan Raiola, that he might have expressed that he was going to be looking into the portal, and Nebraska said, let me open the door for you. Now, that's interesting. You've heard me tell you that I thought as Nebraska fans we should want him to stay, not necessarily because of the production or anything like that, but because of the cachet that he carries, right? This is a former 5-star recruit who has a ton of respect from younger players, who guys want to come and play with, who just commands that kind of attention. I like positively or negatively, however you want to look at it, Dylan Raiola commands attention. Like, he was one of the storylines that, Nebraska fan or not, in the transfer portal, so many people were paying attention to, and there's a reason for that. And it's not just because he's a talented quarterback. The numbers that he put up at Nebraska would make you think, like, why is everyone caring so much where this guy goes? He's got an NFL player as a father, and there's a ton. He's a lightning rod. He's just an attractor of attention. And I think that for Nebraska, in the recruiting game, there was a lot to gain by keeping him around. Now, the staff at Nebraska ultimately decided that apparently the juice was not worth the squeeze. And they have moved on. They have signed two transfer portal quarterbacks with Danny Kaelin coming back to the fold, and then a late signing of another 2026 quarterback out of Las Vegas. So the quarterback room for scholarship players appears to be full now, minus that name of Dylan Raiola. And I want to get to this too, because I have been critical of his play at Nebraska. I've told you that I don't think Dylan Raiola was good enough for the amount of financial resources that Nebraska was spending on him. $3.5 million, if you believe the reports, is what Dylan Raiola was commanding for his NIL, rev share, whatever you want to say. His financial compensation was somewhere in the neighborhood of $3.5 million. I don't think his production on the field was worth that kind of monetary commitment. I don't know how you could disagree. His interception rate was over 2%, which is not good. Might have been like close to 2.5%. Not good. Your quarterbacks in the national championship game are like 1.8. And it wasn't just about, how many times he turned the ball over or how many times they didn't score in the red zone. It was also about his inability to operate within what Dana Holgorsen wanted the offense to be. There were too many times when he was caught holding the ball, taking sacks. It was not working, right? But here's the final word. I still think, even despite all that criticism, Dylan Raiola still deserves nothing but respect from Nebraska fans, and here's why. He wasn't the quarterback that we expected him to be coming out of high school. Not even close, I would say. I don't think that anyone inside the program, anyone inside the fan base, or Dylan himself would probably dispute that it didn't go the way anybody would have hoped it would go when he signed his name on the line before his freshman season at Nebraska. But here's the thing. Dylan Raiola conducted himself at the University of Nebraska with absolute class. He never had an off-the-field issue. There was no sign of scandal or legal trouble or disrespect or impropriety or any of that stuff. By all accounts, he worked really hard. I mean, we saw all the stories about the work that he did on his body to get himself into better physical condition for this upcoming season. It was nothing but class, right? He was respectful to the media. He was great with the fans. He tried to help in recruiting. He was a huge presence on those recruiting visits and hosting recruits. and convincing guys that Nebraska was a place to be.
Not to mention, he made himself a figure within the Lincoln community.
Yeah.
Like he was, when they do all the, hey, it's the off season, we need to go out and we need to, give back to the community that gives so much to us. He said, I'll be there. Everyone wants to see me.
Yep.
I'll be there, obviously.
He was at basketball games. He was at wrestling meets. He was he was everywhere. And he played, I assume, to the best of his ability. He wasn't throwing games. He wasn't making mistakes on purpose. He wasn't like sloughing off the work and showing up unprepared. And like, by all accounts, he was working hard to try and make himself a part of a renaissance of Nebraska football. It didn't come to fruition. That didn't happen. And not least of all of this is that he handled all of the quote-unquote Timu Mahomes nonsense probably better than anyone his age could have ever been expected to. I mean, it would have been real easy for him to get on social media and lash out at people and say some really awful things and go at. Never did. He basically just brushed it off, let it roll off his back, didn't give it much thought, didn't give it much notice, never heard him say an unkind word to anyone, despite all the garbage that was being thrown in his face.
Oh, yeah. And we only, on the Mahomes thing, we only got the one comment ever out of him about it.
Yep.
Where he said, what? That's not my name. My name's Dylan. Nice to meet you.
So I guess for me, I wanted Dylan Raiola to be better. I wanted him to be the guy who brought Nebraska back to national prominence. I thought he would be. 5-star quarterback. You think when that guy comes into your program that could be a major catalyst. And ended up not really being that. He was okay. He was a decent player. Not great, not terrible. He was fine. But what he was a great ambassador for the program, and he was a great representative of the university and for Nebraska football. And for those two things, nothing but respect. Absolutely nothing but respect. And I hope, based on that he finds success and he finds some sort of a happiness in his football career. If it's at Oregon, if he ends up transferring again, whatever it is, like the guy did nothing wrong here at Nebraska. Like we can't blame it. It didn't work out. Whoever's fault that is, we might not know. You can assign blame to whoever you want. You can assign it to Matt Rule, Dana Holgerson, Dylan Raiola, his dad, his uncle, his offensive. Doesn't matter. It didn't work. So in the end, like, hey, nothing but respect. Hope it works out for you wherever you go next. And I hope that that's the attitude that most people will take toward this. I know that, look, I think a lot of people will. There's always going to be the loudest voices that you hear that get amplified that have some horrible thing to say. But I genuinely think that, like, I think most people will be in that camp. Hey, sorry it didn't work out. See you down the road. So I hope that's how it turns out. But hey, Dylan Raiola, Oregon Duck. Who would have seen it coming? If you missed the segment here on the Thursday, check out After Hours on the 1620 The Zone page. You can always go back and review any of our segments right there on 1620thezone.com. The segment was brought to you by Allo. There's no place like Nebraska. And just like so many of us, Allo calls Nebraska home. Born and raised right here in the Cornhusker State, sharing the proud traditions of agriculture, athletics, education, and community. Just like the game day traditions that bring us together season after season, Allo brings people together, connection by connection. Go to allofiber.com/Huskers Radio and sign up for service with the provider that picks Nebraska, the provider that is the official internet, TV, and mobile provider of the Huskers. Next up, Bob Williams talking basketball betting. 1620 The Zone, After Hours.
But you might be better out there. If you're going under, then I'll be your oxygen.
Hey, everybody, it's John here for the fine folks over at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. 78th and Dodge is the place to go for all of your new year gear. That's right. They got everything in stock that you're going to need to look great here in 2026. Long sleeve tees. I got a couple myself. The Johnny O. I'll tell you what I'm wearing. My Johnny O quarter zip pullover with the Nebraska logo on it tonight. Wearing it right now. I've told you so many times, this is the one. In the fall, in the winter, first time it comes out of the dryer, it's number one on the depth chart. Love this shirt so much. It's so comfy. It's stretchy. It's easy to take care of. You don't have to wash it in the tears of a Tibetan yak and then dry it on the first full moon of a Tuesday in November. No, washer, dryer, hanger, it's ready to go. You want to get your gear right here in 2026, get over to 78th and Dodge. Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Your Omaha area forecast from KETV Newswatch 7.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight. Could be a few sprinkles or flurries. Low temperatures in the lower 30s. Mostly cloudy, windy, and colder Friday. Temperatures falling into the 20s. Also some snow showers around. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Randy from KETV Newswatch 7.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
You're listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
After Hours on a Thursday here on 1620 The Zone. You can always get in the discussion, 402-951-1620. If you got questions, if you got comments, if you want to yell at us, if you disagree, if you agree, whatever it is, we'll take your compliments too. It doesn't just have to be the other stuff. You can call us and say that we're doing a great job, or I'm doing a great job at the very least. Jimmy's out tonight. John, Dan, and joining us now, Bob Williams, and we're brought to you by Bellevue University. Get your education done at bellevue.edu. Bob, welcome in.
Gentlemen, hey, it's great to be back. I was listening in on your prior segment, and I wanted to throw out that we as the Nebraska Cornhusker football team does play Oregon the next 2 consecutive seasons. They go to Eugene next year, and then the following season, when I guess presumably after he sits his year, Dylan will be back in Lincoln.
It'll be interesting.
We'll see how he's received at that point in time. A lot of things are going to happen between now and then that may affect how he's
And we'll see if he's still there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always on the table too.
What's the odds on that one?
Yeah.
Give me the Vegas odds.
Honestly, right now, I'd
Coin
say
flip?
it's 50-50. Yeah.
Sure.
That's where my head goes. But just glad that you're in tonight because we had this huge legal situation break with college basketball today.
Yeah.
A federal indictment, 20 men charged with a widespread points shaving scheme tied to college basketball games. It's not the first one of these that we have seen with, basketball in general, but certainly not even with college basketball. It's not the first one. What stands out to you about this latest indictment?
Well, we're looking at over 26 players indicted, over 39 players involved. One of the interesting facts about this scenario is that the NCAA actually did release a statement, or at least talked about this set of facts a little bit themselves, and how they actually had performed under seal to a degree their own personal investigations on a lot of these players. Now we're talking, I don't know how many different schools here, 17 different schools, maybe. I mean, we're
17 different
17
different teams and 29 games that were fixed or manipulated.
The NCAA actually collaborated with law enforcement on these things to a large degree with the FBI. And I think one thing we need to all remember too is that, they are going to have their own penalties. Yep. They can refer information over to other law enforcement, even on state levels too, for stuff that may or may not qualify under federal jurisdiction. But yeah, all these were filed in Philadelphia Federal District Court against these great number of players. Now, none of these players' names really jump out to me. Do any of these players' names jump out to you guys?
No, they're all from pretty small schools.
I've got none of them on my radar.
But they're talking some pretty, so imagine if you're one of these players playing for these maybe, lower tier schools, and it looks like some of these payouts they might have been getting for some of these schemes that they were working on, these criminal enterprises, to use the legal lingo there, $10,000 to $30,000 per game for essentially helping to ensure their teams were not covering the spread. Even halftime spreads, I think, were a number of them. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I the one specific one that I saw referenced was there was a game where the halftime spread was I forget, I think it was Dayton minus 8.5, and somehow Dayton was up 2 and then went on a 12-0 run to close out the first half.
I was going to say, I've got a bunch of first halves from, looks like Kent State, South Alabama, Northern Kentucky, and Louisiana Lafayette.
Now, were these all, Dan, if you have that pulled up, were these all primarily on team totals versus individual player prop bets?
Yes, covering the spread mostly for the first half, from what I can see.
Which,
on some of the college ones.
If you look at those, I mean, obviously we've talked on at least 2 or 3 other occasions how the most susceptible situation to influence is a single player prop, right? But if you're looking at something that's maybe will fly a little low under the radar, a first half prop, to not cover the first half spread, and then maybe that player can go out and play his normal game with the less of a appearance of impropriety, perhaps.
Yeah, just tank the first half and then go do whatever you want in the second.
Now, I'd be interested to know, and certainly we could revisit this at a later radio segment, how these things were uncovered, this situation top down, because this is a tangled spider web. I mean, I'd like to see the red string on the corkboard connection with all these different players. But
the Charlie Day.
Yeah, the Charlie Day. Yes, the Charlie Day meme. Yes, absolutely. So, no, that's very interesting. And these players face a lot of different charges, including charges under the Sports Bribery Act from 1964, when that was enacted, wire fraud, and then obviously the term du jour, the RICO, Racketeering Enterprise Act for criminal enterprises.
You mentioned something in there, and I wanted to just clarify. When we see these federal indictments come down, how, if you can explain it in terms that we can understand, how do they determine which district these charges get filed in? Is it where the crime occurs? Is it where it just matters where the the filing organization is? What is the sort of procedure for where they file these things?
Well, there obviously there has to be a federal question or federal issue when you're talking any of these acts that affect commerce on a national level that can invoke federal jurisdiction. You're talking wire fraud between persons located in different states
Yeah.
that affects,
Which makes me
different
ask the
betting states.
question.
So that's the easy connection to the federal versus a state jurisdiction. As far as where they would choose, that's totally up to the prosecutorial arm
Okay.
of the federal government at this point in time. That may be where they have more resources to pool this information together and prosecute. They can actually forum shop is the term of art. Maybe there's more favorable judiciary in that district. Perhaps I've not practiced up there myself, but that could be one of the considerations. But yeah, there's any nexus to that area where any of these charges could have stemmed from any of this money changing hands or any of the acts having taken place. Yeah, you can locate it right there.
Or if there's a certain district maybe that like if they're pursuing the organized crime angle, maybe there's a district that has more experience in prosecuting those kinds of things.
Well, I don't know if I would agree with that because they can pluck a federal prosecutor from point A to point B
Okay.
to point C if they're a little more experienced. And I would think that any of your major metropolitan areas of I think there's actually 93 federal district courts in the nation would have very experienced attorneys that would be able to work on RICO, because RICO charges are a fairly common. I mean, beyond federal drug trafficking and perhaps like child porn, pretty common federal charges. Yeah, RICO would be up there as well.
Okay, so when we're talking about this, game fixing and perhaps defrauding, the thing we was talking about, defrauding the betting public or the casino or whoever they're putting it through. What are some of the penalties, or that can happen? Obviously, there's fines and potential jail time involved, but what are some of the maximum things that you can see in these kinds of cases?
Well, you've got what are the potential penalty range versus what may be likely to happen. This is also conversations I have with my clients on a nearly daily basis. Is okay, my job is to tell you here's the range of penalties, but here's the likelihood of a certain outcome. For the sports betting, it's 0 to 5 years plus fines. For the wire fraud, 0 to 20 years. Also for the RICO charges for the criminal enterprise, that's 0 to 20 years on each particular charge. And those can be, if a person is convicted, any sentence on any one of those can be run concurrently, which means simultaneously, or they can be stacked as consecutive. Now, my guess is that if these persons were playing college basketball or associated with college basketball at the time, they probably did not have lengthy criminal histories anyway. Now, again, we're also looking back in time to some of these allegations are from 2022. And generally speaking, crimes of this nature are within a 5-year window of statute of limitations, not statute of limitations, Kramer, but statute of limitations. So those are all within that 5-year window. And yeah, you could be looking at some significant prison time. Now, do I think that any of these persons may get significant prison time? That's hard to say without knowing more of the facts.
Right. And talking about how they uncovered all this stuff, I mean, it looked like from reading some of the stuff that I read that these guys were pretty sloppy, at least from the players' angle. They were not. They were actively trying to recruit other players into the scheme, sending like unencrypted text messages to each other about, hey, I got this guy in. He's ready to go. It was specifically the DePaul player that was involved. They're like, yeah, it's the worst team in the Big East. This guy, we already got him in. And I just wonder, I mean,
the
to
idiocy
be
of
a
it.
criminal and think you're going to get away with it, you have to be a little smarter than this, right? Like it just all seems so transparently dumb.
The more layers involved, the more the higher the risk of being caught, right? The higher the likelihood of being caught. You're only as strong as your weakest link, to use a very common cliche. But yeah, in this situation, you've got one ding dong out there. And what do people that win money do? They brag about it, especially if they're players and they spend it. Yes, they brag about it and they spend it and they don't hide it.
It's like the scene in Goodfellas when he's walking in with the mink coat and he's got the pink Cadillac and you get this stuff out of here.
Out of here right now. Yep. No, that's exactly right.
It's just, man. I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does college sports now have a betting problem?
versus a betting solution.
Yeah.
As looking from the player perspective or looking from gambling
From
as a whole?
the wide scope.
I would say from the player perspective, it's always been there. I think that you've got rules in place right now that are ever evolving by the NCAA itself. Whereas, if a player is involved with fixing a game for a sport that for a team in which they play, it's permanent ban. You do have some tiered penalties where a person may get suspended for 50% of their season or 30% of their season if they're betting on a sport that's not their own sport. I don't think it's any different than it's ever been. I think it's just more highly regulated than it's ever been, and everything leaves a evidentiary trail electronically when sports bets are being made. Right? Communications. I mean,
the paper trail.
One of the fallacies was Snapchat. Remember when Snapchat came out? And I've had a lot of clients get in trouble thinking that that's going to disappear and doesn't leave a digital forensic trail.
It's on a server somewhere, buddy.
It's always there somewhere and can be found with the right digital mining equipment.
Yeah, this is the point I always come back to is like, if you think this stuff wasn't going on before, I think your head's in the sand a little bit.
For sure.
It's just, it's sort of the old, causation does not equal correlation. Just because arrests for DUIs have gone up, that doesn't mean more people were suddenly drinking and driving. It just means the cops were enforcing it more heavily or looking for it more. It doesn't always, one does not always equal the other. And in this case, with the digital paper trails and with the enforcement arms looking more closely into it, and with everything being more out in the open rather than in the underground pool hall in Brooklyn, we're going to see more of this stuff. More of it is going to come to light. It's like we're growing corn instead of mushrooms now, right? It's above ground. And so I just caution people before they get, too, ready to jump off the cliff that college sports is dead because of betting. It's like, no, college sports is pretty much the same as it's always been. We're just catching more people who are doing the bad things that they've always been doing. Right.
And if you want to look at the impetus for this, there's really, I guess, a couple of things. You're looking at either social change, which I don't think is the impetus in this situation, but you're looking at these companies, these, DraftKings, FanDuel, they want their integrity at the highest tier it could be. They want confidence in their systems. And so they're willing to, what you would say be quite ironic, right? 10, even 15 years ago, they're willing to work with law enforcement to help make, because since it's legalized now,
right? If everybody thinks the games are fixed, they won't bet on them.
Right. They want the integrity of the system to be 100%.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're willing to help push either legislation along or maybe help nudge along law enforcement or support law enforcement on the federal level to help investigate these things and even push the NCAA along and maybe these partner schools under the NCAA along. Hey, let's root out some of this.
Yeah.
And by the way, let's pump it to the front page of the sports section or the front page of the sports site, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, ESPN and all of the advertising, all the networks that run sports all have advertising partners who are in the gambling industry. So they all have incentive to run these stories to death because their advertising partners have a vested interest in making sure that, look, we got to catch the bad guys, punish them, stop them from doing these things, deterrence. Right. And I wonder if maybe like all of these stories in the past couple of years since it became like really wide open, eventually like people are going to get wise. Like, you can't do this stuff, you're going to get caught, right? Like eventually you would think so. I mean, there will always be idiots who will still think they can get away with it, but I think like we're sort of, it feels like we're reaching a peak.
Sure.
And this stuff is about to start coming down the other side.
Yeah, so much of this has been rooted out over time, and common sense would dictate that some of the easier paths to getting somebody to shave on a game are no longer there.
Yep.
And again, as we talked about, the digital trail that's always, and Big Brother's always watching as well, and not just from a digital trail, but like literally cameras are everywhere in these facilities. If these people are willing to meet, how are they communicating with these other arms? How is the money actually being exchanged? Are we able to exchange actually fistfuls of dollars, right? drop bags and that type of thing?
McDonald's
Because
bags,
if not,
yeah.
we have, we've got digital trails.
Well, and there's so much like biometric monitoring and stuff now that goes on too, that you can see
Yes.
like, I mean, we see spin rate in baseball, and suddenly a pitcher's spin rate increases by 700 RPMs. And it's like, okay, something happened there just magically.
Sure,
No.
sure.
And you have all the biometric monitoring data. The players all have wearables during the games. And if if a school sees a player like, hey, you were really loafing during that first half. And,
Sure,
and that's
sure.
a huge drop from your normal output. Like, what was going on? Were you sick? Like,
Yep.
what's happening? All of that monitoring is seriously going to, yes, we might see more stories about people getting caught, but I think that's a good thing.
Oh, I think it's a good thing for the integrity of the sport. I mean, I think all of us, to a degree, at least sitting in this studio, do some gambling, at least on some tier. And I want to know that there's integrity going
Sure.
on where I'm spending my money.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Well, any legal advice for everybody listening out there for the new year?
Never commit 2 crimes at once. All right.
That's a good one.
Don't speed and have drugs in your car. I mean, just that's
One or the other.
101 right there.
That's your legal advice from Bob Williams. Bob, thanks for being. Hey, you want to stick around for Buy or Sell?
Let's do it.
Dan says that's NFL heavy. I know that's
All
right,
right.
right in
You
your
got me.
wheelhouse. So we'll do that next. Coming up here on After Hours on 1620 The Zone. If you missed it, you can always check it out on 1620thezone.com. Check out the radio replay page for After Hours. Segment was brought to you by Pasta Amore. You craving some Italian food? Let me tell you where to go. Rockbrook Village. That's where Pasta Amore is. They send us food on Tuesdays, and boy, do we love everything that they have ever sent us. Get in there on Sunday and try their deep dish pizza, the vodka sauce pizza. I'm telling you, if you haven't tried it, you're missing out. Get into Pasta Amore this weekend. We got Buy or Sell coming up next.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience from their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday, and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
Hey Jays fans, it's hoop season and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vest, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
Life is unpredictable, with seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner. You can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore your home today. Call Paul Davis Restoration at 402-553-0373 today.
Everyone at Controlled Comfort hopes you had a very Merry Christmas. But that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. $3,000 off retail price. Ready for the Nebraska summer heat now. Call Controlled Comfort.
For all your home and business needs, Control Comfort is here to please. Control Comfort keeps it under control.
You're listening to After Hours.
All right, welcome back to After Hours. Dan's wearing his Grateful Dead shirt. paying homage to Bob Weir. And Bob's got his My Schmeeks shirt on. I'm just wearing the Nebraska shirt. But we're back. It's time now. We're moving it up in the lineup a little bit. Buy or sell time. Bob's here. I like when Bob participates in buy or sell.
Yeah.
Dan is going to ask us questions. We will buy or sell on whether we would like the outcome of that question, I suppose.
Sure.
That's how buy or sell works. Dan, what do you got for us tonight?
It's how it's supposed to work. It's not how it always
It
works
doesn't
when
always work that way.
I get to write it. But another Titan of the AFC East has met his end. Mike Tomlin and the Steelers have agreed to part ways mutually. Buy or sell, it was time for Tomlin to give up the reins.
AFC North, Dan.
Sorry.
Was it time for Tomlin to give up the reins? Well, I have to believe, because of the way that it went down, that I buy. It wasn't that Mike Tomlin was fired. Mike Tomlin chose to step. Now, he may have been encouraged to step down. I think that's probably reasonable to assume.
Yeah.
That's a very, very good assumption.
But he accepted the terms of whatever agreement they put in front of him. So I think probably Mike Tomlin was ready to move on too. And you know what? It was a great run. 19 seasons, never finished below 500. I mean, that's incredible. So, yeah, I buy. I think it was probably time to move on. Like 20 years coaching one team is a long time. And I don't care what era you're in. Like, we talk about the way that teams move on from coaches so quickly, GMs, whatever it may be. They move on so fast now. 20 years is a long time in any era.
I would buy as well. I think his tenure had gotten a little stale, to use a legal term we throw around a little bit. I
Hadn't
think
really
that
been the same since Roethlisberger retired.
Would agree. You've had Duck Hodges was one of your starting quarterbacks at one point in time, and
a bird that quacks.
It doesn't hurt my feelings that Aaron Rodgers went out just getting absolutely smashed last weekend into the dirt on that game. I think that one thing that would give me a little hesitancy maybe to think about a sell would be that the vast number of vacancies. I know every year we've got between 3 and 5, and I think we're now at 8, if I'm not mistaken. Well, maybe down to 7. I think with Harbaugh, I don't know if that's on your list.
Harbaugh's official.
Harbaugh's
now.
a giant coach, which I'm not a big fan of as an Eagles fan. That's a little scary to me. But no, I would buy on Tomlin saying it's time to move on.
Dan?
I'm a little bit conflicted because my head coach has been one of the many that had rumors, I guess you would say, flying around him all this offseason. And I buy only if Mike Tomlin is going to come and coach the Green Bay Packers because it's a guaranteed, never technically losing season. But yeah, with the way that first round playoff exit kind of looked this year, especially for him, and just they went pretty limp right at the end. It seems like it's Tomlin's time to hang it up in Pittsburgh and maybe go find a greener pasture of some sort. He's still young enough that I think any team that is smart will snap him up really quick. And knock on wood, that it is not the New York Jets.
And is he going over to Fox now for the postseason? Did I see that?
I don't know. I hadn't seen that.
I read a blurb on that, so we'll see.
Oh, I hope so. That'd be great. Mike Tomlin's got a lot of good football insight. But speaking of those fired coaches, Bob did a good job alluding to the next buy or sell question. John, your prediction of about a week was correct. So congratulations to you and to the New York Giants on landing John Harbaugh. Buy or sell Harbaugh is a good fit for the G-men.
I'm going to buy on this because I think he is more so than any coach they've had in recent memory familiar with what it takes to build a winning NFL franchise. They've hired a bunch of guys who were either first-time head coaches, retreads, who hadn't come from winning. Like the Giants just haven't had a real competent head coach since Tom Coughlin retired. Like they haven't had that guy. So I think he's good for them, if nothing more than a bridge to a solid future. I think he's good for a young quarterback like Jackson Dart because I think he knows what it takes to build a team around a young quarterback. I mean, he did it marvelously, building a team around a young, raw, but talented Lamar Jackson, and had great success with those teams. He knows what it takes to get a team to a Super Bowl. I think those are all good things to have in an organization. The only thing I worry about is that I think he might have needed a year off. I think he might have benefited from sitting out for 1 year and just like recharging the batteries and watching from the sidelines and maybe reassessing some operational things of how he wants to run his franchise. I still think it's a buy, but I would have liked to seen him, for his sake, maybe sit out one season.
I agree on the buy. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit. I think some of these guys are just programmed to grind away, and I don't know if he's a guy that can sit on the sideline or sit in the booth for a year.
Possibly,
I mean, he'd be fantastic in the booth, I think, as well. But is he built for that? Is he geared towards that? Is that in his blood? I guess I don't know the answer to that. I think he had so many opportunities this offseason, or I guess this coaching cycle. I was kind of surprised that Miami was not even on his list necessarily. And then maybe that's because they already had a GM in place. But
I just think Miami's in a lot of trouble.
Oh my gosh, with no quarterback either. But as far as the Giants go, yeah, absolutely. And with Harbaugh, what's already got a pretty solid defense in place, he can squeeze a little more out of them as well. And then, as you said, develop the offense, the quarterback room. You got young skill position players. Probably could use a little improvement in their offensive line. They probably will address that in the draft this year.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's an easy buy.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty easy buy. Just from pretty much anywhere that Harbaugh could have gone outside of maybe one or two teams, I think he's going to find success with whatever group he's with. Biggest market in sports, so we'll see kind of what the sort of talking points that we hear out of the larger national shows becomes once Harbaugh kind of gets his feet under him and starts running. I'm most interested to see what his relationship with Jeremy Shawn will be like in that draft night room, because he's had a couple gaffes over the last couple of years with the trading away of Saquon. Congratulations on that, Bob. And the general like Jackson Dart of it all, where he was fairly adamant in video that's come out, which, side note, stop recording draft night in your draft room. It is the dumbest thing that you can possibly do as an NFL franchise. But the pushback that he had on Jackson Dart, I don't think fares well for what maybe John Harbaugh would want to build.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. Moving on to the college game.
Oh, I got a hamstring cramp.
Uh-oh. Well, I'll tell you who's not cramping.
That hurts.
I'm not rubbing it out, John.
Please.
After taking just 5 portal players in the last 4 years combined, it seems like Dabo is changing his tune. After going 7-6 last season, he has signed 10 portal players. Buy or sell, this is a welcome change from Mr. Sweeney.
Well, it's a welcome change, certainly, for the Clemson fan base, because like we have talked about this on this show specifically a ton about Dabo was getting left behind. Like, he was playing in the Stone Age when everyone else has got bronze tools. Like, you know what I mean? He was just doing it an old way. It's like you're trying to run the wishbone in the era of the spread option. It's not working.
Obstinate. Yes, absolutely.
And, he got up. I think his quote was like, I don't remember. He feels like the preacher at the Vegas marriage chapel.
Yeah.
Because he's doing the thing that he said he wasn't going to do.
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, well, eventually you got to win, man. And sometimes you got to do different things to win, and the rules change, and now you play by new rules. And like there's something to be said for having principles, but you can take your principles to the grave. Sure. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've also got to stay alive, and you got to win football games. That's what this is about. And for somebody who preaches doing it the right way and building a winning football team, like sometimes you have to do things differently to build a winning football team. And I'm sure that the fans in Clemson, South Carolina are happy to see him starting to finally use the transfer portal. And look, I think there's no small amount of credit here due to him hiring Chad Morris.
Yeah.
Chad Morris is a younger coach who's more in tune with the modern way of doing things. And I think Chad Morris probably came in and said, look, I know you like doing things the way that you've always done them, but I'm here and I want to build a winner with you. So we got to do it different. And maybe that finally sat with Dabo and he realized that it isn't the great evil that he has made it out to be.
Absolutely. I think this is another easy buy. And if I were a fan, I would be absolutely irate. You're operating in a way, not in a way the rule allows. You need to operate. If this is legal and allowed by the NCAA,
do it.
You need to do it. An absolute necessity to do this. I mean, aren't about 30% of players in the portal?
Something like that.
Some
yeah.
crazy astronomical number. And if you're not willing to quote unquote play the game within the game, then you're falling behind. And so his obstinance be damned.
Yep.
Find a way to make it work, or you know what? Go the way of Saban. Get the heck out.
Yep.
I appreciate it, but in my personal opinion, I sell on this simply because if you're going to be this Mr. Moral High Ground all the time, I think you have to stick to that. I'm the moral high ground guy, and this is how college football is supposed to be. And no transfers, and we give these kids an education. That should be enough payment. Blah 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 blah. I think Dabo Swinney is doing a good thing, but he's doing it for the wrong reason.
Well, he wouldn't last more than his first loss next year if he didn't.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that, Dan, is I think we have to make room for people to change their mind. And I think we have to make room for people, even if they're slow to update their operating system, right? Like, just because he was doing it wrong for a long time, if he's starting to do it the right way now, like, I think we got to let him have that.
Okay. John here for not using Windows Vista anymore, apparently.
Right. Don't do that.
Windows Vista is great, man. Moving on, because this is our one and only show of the week. On Monday night, we get to see Indiana and Miami face off in the national championship. Buy or sell, Curt Cignetti and Fernando Mendoza raise the golden cylinder.
Buy. This is what I predicted at the outset of the playoff. I told you I'm done being a Indiana doubter. I played that role for a while. I'm over it. I cannot doubt Curt Cignetti any further. He's proven me wrong at every step. So if you can't beat him, join him. And I think Indiana's the better team. I think Indiana has smacked everybody. Basically everybody. I mean, save the Penn State game when they had to make a comeback and the Oregon game in Eugene early on in the season. They have beat the living hell out of everybody. What makes you think Miami's going to be any different?
Totally agree. That's again an easy buy. I mean, are you following the game within the game, but down there that you've got Mendoza, who's a Columbus High kid, graduate, and the Cuban population down there is following him. You've got them battling this internal conflict, or do I root for the local Miami team who hasn't been to a natty or hasn't won a natty since they beat our team, or do I go the route of cheering for Mendoza, the local kid who's absolutely kicking butt? So,
I think it's a good problem to have if you're a resident of Miami. Either way, you're going to be happy for something.
Absolutely. No, I think they're going to give it to Miami.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
Yeah, after seeing Alabama and Oregon Part 2, especially Oregon Part 2.
Wow.
I think that. This might sound crazy, but Carson Beck, I think, is a slightly worse quarterback than Dante Moore is within the passing game. I don't think he places it as well as Dante does. And, they eviscerated that Oregon offense. If they show any sign of weakness, they're going to get snapped up by Indiana real fast. Number 5, a random Dan question.
All right, love it.
Let's go.
All right. With all of the buzz around heated rivalry, I have to wonder, could it be based on a known story? Famously, Sidney Crosby was a Canadian prodigy and was going on to lead Canada to glory. And Alexander Ovechkin is a Russian slick talker who has won a Stanley Cup once and came into the league at about the same time. Buy or sell, this author was pulling from some good old-fashioned true-to-life stories. Have you seen the famously all-about hockey show, Heated Rivalry?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fab. I think it might be loosely based on some real stuff. I don't think it's absolutely a documentary. I don't buy it.
You don't think that Alexander Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby are secretly in a romantic tryst
I don't.
that they haven't been able to tell anyone about for years?
I don't think so.
I would sell on that too. I think that would be pretty shocking on many levels. I'm not as familiar with the story as you certainly are, Dan, but I think that's a seller.
Shane, I'd come to cottage.
No, stop it.
No, it is. It's just funny because I've seen so many people who have been like, especially like they're very like hockey centric podcasts who are like, this is really weird because it's very familiar with just like the character of Shane Hollander and the character of Ilya are both very much like Shane is very much like Sidney Crosby. And Ilya is very much like Alexander Ovechkin.
They're facsimiles of the real people.
It's just very funny because they're like, did they pull anything from real life? Because that feels a little like
I
close to the story.
I think they
like
picked some generalities from real life and then fabricated the rest. That's what it feels. There's no way that stuff is real.
No, it's obviously not real. I'm saying pulling a little bit from real life and saying, hey, we have this Canadian guy and this Russian guy who are really good at the same exact time.
Yeah.
And are both like always seeming to face off and are supposed to hate each other.
Yeah. Okay.
And the way they got touted at the same time and like brought out.
We do this sometimes. We'll do it here since Bob is about to leave us. TV. Guess what happens this weekend? Sunday night. The new Game of Thrones prequel.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Oh yes, Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah, Night of the Seven. Have you read the book?
Yes,
it's
I have.
Great.
I have not read this one.
Dunk and
no.
Egg. Yeah, it's awesome.
I knew the premise, but this is further prequel.
Yes, I'm so excited for this show. This was one of my favorite books in the George R.R. Martin Westeros universe.
Now, do you watch the weekly drop or do you save them up and then tear?
No, I'll watch it. I'll watch it weekly. Yeah, I can't.
8 p.m. Sunday night or whatever.
I'm on the couch, baby.
Oh yeah,
count me
I'm
in.
the same way. I'll be in there.
Yeah, and I've been watching a show on Prime, The Night Manager. Have you seen this?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
Yeah. So if you're familiar with the author John le Carre, who wrote Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, have you ever seen that?
Yep.
One of my favorite movies. This series is based on another one of his books, and it's really good. Hugh Laurie is in it. You might know him from House.
Oh yeah,
famously.
And what's the guy who played Loki? What's his name?
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston is in it. Yeah, it's really good. It's a fabulous show, and Olivia Colman, who's great.
Oh yeah,
I'll put it on my list.
Yeah, that's a high recommendation from me. Night Manager on Prime. Anybody else? Anybody else got anything they're watching?
Trying to catch up on the next season of Fallout.
Oh yeah, yeah.
As well,
I haven't caught up on that.
I'm doing a rewatch of of season 1, and I thought it was pretty fantastic. No takers.
The Campen and Range household is super whack because we moved on. We watched all of Heated Rivalry.
Yeah.
Right when we got back from vacation. It's great. I would recommend it. If you're expecting a hockey show, maybe not. It's more about a love interest show, but it's kind of fun. It's got a lot of like funny plot points, and it's really funny to hear Connor Story do a bunch of Russian the whole time. And it's like very accurate, allegedly. I don't speak Russian, John. That would be you grading Russian. But we have moved on from Dawson's Creek to the OC.
Oh no,
my Lord. You're circa 1999 or maybe early 2000s.
Yeah, we're running through all these like early 2000s.
You're watching all the millennial trash wad shows.
Yeah, we're watching all like the early 2000s like random TV shows.
Yeah.
Now, have you guys seen Shrinking on Apple TV?
Have not. No.
Okay, the 3rd season comes out I think the end of this month or early next month. Fantastic show. Absolutely fantastic comedy.
We got a text message into the show from someone named Jimmy Allen. He says, new weekly segment, Return to Westeros, where we break down Night of the Seven Kingdoms every week. So look for that coming up here in the new year. All right. That's going to do it. Bob, thank you so much for being here. It was a great discussion with you. Thanks for staying around for Buy or Sell. We'll see you next week.
You got it.
All right. If you missed any of that segment, you can always go back and listen to it again on the 1620thezone.com radio replay page. Just click on the After Hours tab. That's where you can find all of our past episodes, segments, whatever. You can find us right there. And the segment was brought to you by Controlled Comfort. Listen, it's going to get cold. It's going to get cold this weekend. We've been treated to some great weather. Cold is coming. And you know February is just waiting around the corner with a snowball to smack you in the face. So if you got any questions about your heating or HVAC system, give Controlled Comfort a call. Get them in. They'll check it out. They'll make sure you're ready for when the temperatures plunge to below zero. Don't wait. Get confidence with Controlled Comfort. Coming up next, we're going to talk NFL playoffs. Who do we think is going to win the playoff games this weekend? That's coming up on After Hours on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody. John here for Paul Davis Restoration. Look, when the snow flies, it can cause problems. Ice dams can build up. You can get cracks in the foundation, and that causes all sorts of problems, not to mention broken pipes when it gets sub-zero. If you got concerns, if any of that happens to you, give Paul Davis a call at 402-553-0373. Don't try to deal with it yourself. Let the professionals come in. They'll be there in a flash. They'll get you fixed up and have your home ready and back to the way it was in no time at all. If you got smoke damage, if you need mold mitigation, if you got water damage, Paul Davis will help you out with all of that and so much more. And save that number in case of emergency. 402-553-0373. That's how you get Paul Davis Restoration.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Life is unpredictable, with seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner. You can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore your home today. Call Paul Davis Restoration at 402-553-0373 today.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Everyone at Controlled Comfort hopes you had a very Merry Christmas. But that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. Get a full system for $3,000 off retail price. Get ready for the Nebraska summer heat now. Call Controlled Comfort.
For all your home and business needs, Controlled Comfort is here to please.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
After Hours on 1620 The Zone with you on a Thursday night. And second hour brought to you, of course, by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being the number one roofer in Omaha. That is not an accident. Check them out at pyramidroof.com. Get yourself free estimate for all your roof, gutter, and siding needs. Well, we're on to the second round of the football playoffs in the NFL. And got some really interesting matchups this weekend. Wanted to kind of get into the talk of some of these games and what I think is going to happen. It feels like the biggest matchup of the weekend is certainly Buffalo and Denver. Right? Buffalo, Denver. It feels like this is the window for Buffalo. You have a bunch of younger, less experienced quarterbacks in the playoffs left now, minus Matt Stafford. But there's no Mahomes standing in the way. There's no Lamar Jackson standing in the way. There's no Joe Burrow standing in the way. It feels like in the AFC, this is Josh Allen time. Like, this is his moment. This is his opportunity to break through that wall, get his team to the Super Bowl and win one. The problem is the team that they play is coached by Sean Payton.
Yeah.
And despite the quarterback in Denver being young and inexperienced, their head coach is not. He's been around the block. He knows, obviously what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And that team on defense at least has looked really, really good all season. And I don't know, man. I have a lot of belief in Buffalo. I think that they if you make me pick, I'm picking the Bills in this one just because of the inexperience at quarterback for Denver, but I'm not 100% sold on that. But it does feel like this is the time. If Josh Allen's going to get that Super Bowl monkey off his back, this is the year to do it.
And I think, as we asked Brian Munson last week, this needs to be his year that he can do it. Because unfortunately, the monkey is on his back. And if he doesn't go to the Super Bowl this year, when allegedly the path is easier than it ever has been for him, a la no Patrick Mahomes to face at the end of his run.
Yep.
Now would be the time for him to make it to the playoffs. Just saw a crazy stat as I was figuring out what the social media soundbite might be for tonight out of a couple of the things. And do you know who the last Bronco to win a playoff game was at quarterback?
The last Bronco at quarterback to win a playoff game. Was it Peyton Manning?
It was old John 316 himself.
Tebow.
Timothy Tebow.
The overtime game.
Or, excuse me, the last Bronco to be drafted by the Broncos.
Oh, the last, quarterback drafted by the Broncos. Yeah. Because Peyton won a playoff game since Tebow.
Yeah, he won a couple.
He won a Super Bowl.
He won a few.
Yeah, the last quarterback drafted.
Yeah.
I understand.
I read the wrong.
The other interesting point in this game is, like, if Sean Payton takes Denver and wins a Super Bowl, the second franchise, like, where do we start talking about him in the ranks of all-time greats? Because there aren't many. Think of another coach who's won a Super Bowl with multiple franchises.
You have to go back
Right?
before I was alive.
It's not a thing that happens. You don't just move on to a new franchise and then go win a Super Bowl. It just doesn't happen. So this would be monumental. Sean Payton can get the Broncos to a Super Bowl and win it, especially with a second-year quarterback who a lot of people were down on when he was drafted by Denver. There was a lot of naysayers about Bo Nix. And there's like a little Drew Brees in Bo Nix, though, right? A little undersized, kind of doubted. Like, Sean Payton has success with that. Like, yeah, and if Denver goes on and wins the Super Bowl, Noah's going to be really mad. But Noah Houston, who's sitting in the producer's chair right now, huge Chiefs fan. If you don't follow him on Twitter, be ready for a deluge of Chiefs tweets. But man, Sean Payton, if he gets Denver to the Super Bowl, he joins that elite class of NFL coaches. He's already high in the ranks, I think, but like that's a different tier.
Well, and the tier that he would make it to is a very small club of guys who can say that like that is their accomplishment. I have won multiple Super Bowls for one, and I've done it with multiple.
The next game that really has my eye is Rams Bears, and it's mostly because we played in Soldier Field and it's cold as hell.
Oh yeah,
like I just don't see the Rams coming in frozen Soldier Field and winning that game. Like I don't see it happening. But Caleb Williams is absolutely maddening, right? Like one play, he straps on ice skates and does a triple Lutz in the backfield to escape the all-out blitz and fires a pass down the field while he's completely horizontal and it's right on the money for a 35-yard gain. And the next play, he overthrows a wide-open receiver by 10 yards with his feet planted in a cleaner pocket than Jimmy's hairline. Like,
yeah.
It's like how is this possible? He's so maddening to watch because there's very obvious physical ability and sometimes just like, dude, how'd you miss that one? You were juggling chainsaws when you threw the last football, and this was a 5-yard out route, and you airmailed it into the third row. I don't get it. I don't understand. I still think, despite all that, like he makes insane plays. He's fine. I'm still on that opinion that like Caleb Williams is okay. He's fine. I still think the Bears win.
Yeah, my biggest gripe with Caleb Williams, and I mean, I love you watch NFL. One thing I do love about them is they always have like random stats and facts. I'm like, yeah, good. Great.
Especially if Mike Tirico's in the broadcast.
Great random stats and facts, guys. But can we stop like pretending that this like little stat fact that you guys keep pointing out that like, oh, the Bears have won 7 games with like trailing in the fourth quarter. That's like not the most positive thing. I don't know, like everyone's like, oh, that's so amazing. They've done it. And I'm like, yeah, they've done it. But that also means that for 7 games this year, they've been playing by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah. That is a concern that like they get down by so much that they're not able to pull off a miracle comeback finally.
Yeah.
I think that probably happens in the next round though when they have to go on the road.
I would assume so. As far as their chances to win this game, I like them for the first reason that you actually stated. Soldier Field is a great hulk of an SOB to have to play in at this time of year. It's going to be cold as heck, and they call it the Windy City for a reason.
And
it's probably going to be
extremely
windy.
The fans are going to be lubricated. It's a second round playoff in Chicago. How often do they get to see this? They're going to be ready.
It's going to get really loud. It's going to get really rowdy.
Yeah.
And that secondary that the Bears have, if not in the first half, in the second half, they find that adjustment and they find the way to get the other team off the field a lot quicker than they do in the first half. And for a Rams team that their sort of bailout at the end of the game is,
Puka.
Yeah, just toss it over to Puka, that could end up being a problem.
49ers team. I think this 49ers team is great. Oh, yeah. This team, I think if they were fully healthy, nobody's beating them. I think they're Super Bowl champs if this team is fully healthy. because what they've done, despite all the injuries that they've had this season, is like it's amazing. Like their starting quarterback went down in the middle of the season, and they didn't really miss a beat. They've lost their defensive talisman in Fred Warner. Like the wide receiver room has been a rotating cast of who the hell is that? Like it's just like it's incredible what they've been able to do. I don't think they can beat Seattle though.
No, neither do I.
Like with the George Kittle injury, feels like the last straw. Like that's a too big a piece to be missing in a spot like this with a team that's playing so well. And Sam Darnold, like it just seems like he's got revenge on the mind. Like this is a guy who is ready to just prove all the haters and doubters wrong. Like he got run out of New York. They bailed on him in Minnesota. How you doing with that, Vikings fans? Like I just like Seattle just feels like one of the old Seattle teams again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of those old Pete Carroll, Legion of Boom, Russell Wilson, beast mode teams that is going to be really hard to beat. And especially at home in that setting with those fans and the crowd noise. Like, man, I like Seattle a lot. And Seattle is one of the teams that I think has a real shot to take the whole thing. I don't think the 49ers can overcome the injuries in this one. I've got Seattle winning here.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of kind of national prognosticators and, the old Twitter finger boys that have said, Seattle is the weakest one seed that we've ever seen. And I would like to posit to you, where do you see them being weak?
Dude.
You could make an argument for it.
It's
Sam
because
Darnold is
listen,
not a great quarterback.
No,
I would give you that.
that's why. It's because there are still plenty of people who think about Sam Darnold as the 22-year-old starting quarterback the Jets who was seeing ghosts. He's not that guy anymore. Did you not see him win 14 games in Minneapolis last year? Like he's different. He's grown up. He's much better. And it's hard for people once they have formed an opinion. And it's especially this way in sports. Like once somebody has formed an opinion about a player, it's really hard for them to change that opinion. The mental elasticity is not there when it comes to sports opinions. A lot of fans just can't change their mind when they've made up their mind about a guy. Like that's who that guy is for them forever. And that's not the case with Sam Darnold. He's a vastly different quarterback than he was for the Jets.
Yes, he is. And I was going to give him his due. I was going to say, if you don't think he's great, then he's definitely really good. And the one thing that he has found, I think, within himself and within this organization of the Seahawks is the ability to, most importantly, just find the open guy and just
most of the time it's Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Yeah, and I was going to say, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is almost always open, so he's got a real good luck charm there. But I just don't see anyone beating Seattle. If the 49ers do win, I would predict them to go to the Super Bowl because that is a kind of rallying sort of thing that you can rally around.
How wild would that be if it was like 49ers Bears in the NFC Championship? That'd feel weird, wouldn't it?
It would feel weird. I'd ask Jimmy for a lot of shirts.
The last game on the docket is Houston and New England. And I like Houston, but they're sloppy, man. That team, they're a little bit like the Bears. Where it feels like they mess around too long and have to find a way at the end. And I'm like, I don't know. It's a team that I think is kind of flawed. And the Patriots, they play great defense. They're not going to give you anything. And guess what? Drake May's good.
Yes.
Jimmy Allen hates to hear this. Drake May's good. Drake May's good quarterback. I had this, allow me to toot my own horn a little bit, toot. In that draft class, you'll remember I wanted my Washington Commanders to draft Drake May. That's who I wanted out of that draft class. And look, been fairly pleased with Jay Daniels. Took us to the NFC Championship game last year. Had I don't know what would you call it, an elbow explosion this year that didn't allow him to play.
Appropriate adjective.
I've been pretty pleased with him as the pick, but man, Drake May, he makes so many strides, and especially this year with Vrabel taking over as the head coach, it just seems like he's gone to a whole level. I really like what Drake May is doing, and I think they're going to put one on Houston.
It's going to be really like you sort of alluded to. Houston loves to play with their food, and the Patriots are not a team that enjoys.
They're not food.
The food that gets played
They're
with.
not food.
They're the full 5-course meal that you can't finish at the table that you have to bring home in a doggy bag. But oh my god, it's almost no contest, and it feels really bad to say that because the Houston Texans defense this year is very good.
So
it's just their offense gets slaughtered.
I got Bills Pats in the AFC Championship game, and I got Bears Seahawks in the NFC Championship game.
Seems likely. It would break my heart to see the Bears go any further, but
and look, honestly, I would love another Rams Seahawks game because they have played some bangers this season. That is the NFC title game. I think would give us the best game. I don't know about the Rams going into that cold weather in Soldier Field. I don't like it.
I don't know, there's a part of me that wonders if this is, specifically for if this is going to be the ride off into the sunset season, and if that's kind of
if they won the Super Bowl, I bet it would.
Yeah, if that's what he's told everyone in the locker room that like, hey, just so you know, if we can do this, I will not be here next year, and you'll be saddled with Stetson Bennett or whomever is behind him right now.
Gonna be Stetson Bennett.
You don't think the Rams take a chance on Stetson Bennett?
I don't.
You don't think Sean McVay is that big of a gamer?
Like, I'm starting to doubt myself, man. Like, I'm talking myself out of the Bears winning this game.
So, I think for everything that I hate about them, and for all of the horrible, terrible things that the Chicago Bears represent to me as a franchise, for some reason, they've found ways to do it all year.
Well, they got a really good coach.
Yeah, when they're not expected to do it. And Ben Johnson and that staff that he's assembled in Chicago are arguably some of the best at going into the locker room at halftime and saying, here is exactly what we need to do to win this game. It is either do this or fail. And Ben Johnson, the look on his face during the second half of all of these Bears games this year has literally been, I will not fail.
All right.
Also, a really unclassy move to be taped in the locker room after the game, giving out the old F Green Bay speech. Cool guy. You know who doesn't do that to you? Matt LaFleur.
Let's let the intern weigh in. Noah Houston, who you got in the championship games? Bears, Seahawks, yeah. I think Rams Bears is honestly the one I go back and forth on. I think the weather is the difference in that one. Yep. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our playoff discussion. Hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it, you can always check it out on the 1620 The Zone radio replay page under the After Hours tab. And it was brought to you by Controlled Comfort. Cold weather's coming. Get yourself set up with a little check on your heating system. You don't want to be in that spot where the cold rolls in and you hit the switch and nothing happens. Check out Controlled Comfort. Get your HVAC system tuned up before the cold weather hits. When we come back, got a social media soundbite here on a Thursday night on After Hours in 1620. Hey, everybody, it's John here for AX Plumbing. Whatever you got going on with your plumbing system, AX Plumbing can help you out. Jimmy's told you all the ways that AXP Services helped him over the past couple of years. We're happy that they have been a sponsor of the After Hours Lounge. And whatever it is, from a clogged toilet to putting in a new shower, whatever it is, AXP Service can help you out. Head over to axpservice.com tonight and let them come scope your drain, water jet it out, have everything flowing like it's brand new. Once again, head over to axpservice.com and stop worrying when you turn the water on.
Real hour is here. 124th and Blondo, Monday through Saturday from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. and Sunday from 2 to close. And enjoy $2 to $5 off appetizers, $1 off draft and bottles of beer, and delicious ciders. All signature cocktails are $10. Classic cocktails are $8. And every glass of wine is $2 off. Plus, Rail Car's incredible brunch menu is on display 9:30 to 2 Saturday and Sunday. Rail Car Modern American Kitchen, 144th and Blondo.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan, we bring out the best in you.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
Howdy, Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Park Commission, and time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Hey, time to get out of the house. Enjoy Nebraska's many state parklands on those nice days when we get them. Grounds are open for all kinds of outdoor recreation. You just need to bring your own water, have a current state park permit, and bring along some money for those camping fees if you want to camp out. I always say, park it in a park. By the way, you can get lots of information on the Nebraska State Parks online through the Game and Parks website, outdoornebraska.gov. Question: are you venturing outdoors this time of year? If so, file a plan with somebody that you know and trust, telling them at least where you're going, when you're due back, assemble a survival kit, carry a first aid kit, tote your smartphone to record a voicemail location, and pack an extra set of warm clothing in a trash bag or a dry bag just in case. Please be safe out there. I'm Greg Wagner.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Bernard, TV host of Restaurant Tour. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on Sundays. When our resources changed, food assistance programs sustained us. They gave me fuel to start my first culinary business at 16 years old, and inspiration to donate the extra food in my community. Through my life, I've developed an appetite to work with others to ensure everyone has access to the nutritious food we need to thrive. Together, we can help end hunger. Come on, join the movement with Feeding America by volunteering, donating, and advocating. Learn more at feedingamerica.org/act now.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone.
After hours on 1620 The Zone, John Schreiner, Dan Campen, and Noah Houston riding through your Thursday night. We are, as always, in the second hour, brought to you by the fine folks at Pyramid Contractors, who've been number one in Omaha for more than a decade. Check out pyramidroof.com for your free estimate. Okay, it's time. We're going to get to this quickly so we can move right along. Social media soundbite. Dan, what do you got for us tonight?
Sean Payton's a butthead.
Yeah, that's not nice. It's not nice to talk to people that way. I mean, honestly, you know what the reporter was asking, about having a defensive back who can fit in the run game and help out with stopping the run. He used a cliche term that he's heard other people say, and Sean Payton wanted to flex on him a little bit, and it's like, come on, dude, you know what he means, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't have to be that way.
I'm gonna say I thought it was perfect, just for the not age that we're living in, but like the time period in which this comes out compared to the Liam Cohen situation from last weekend, where that reporter was just like, keep your head up, you did so good, you should be proud of this, blah, 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 blah. And then to have Sean Payton just like crack a journalist for being like, you used a term that you probably like don't maybe have like a full amount of familiarity with, but you have to understand at least partially what it means. And just to have someone like eviscerate you, especially in a media room like that.
Yeah.
I've seen how those are set up before, and no thank you. Just no thank you.
I really hate it when coaches do that, because like, the question he's trying to ask, and he's like, I give a little bit of blame to the reporter because he admits that he doesn't know what that means. He's just using a term that he's heard someone else say before. I used to get really mad when I would hear broadcasters say he caught the ball at his highest point, and it's like, no, he didn't, because he didn't jump 25 feet in the air. That's the highest point of the ball. What you mean to say is he caught the ball at the high point of his jump. That's what high pointing the football means. At the peak of his jump, he caught the ball. That doesn't mean he caught the ball at its highest point. That's not what you mean. You're using a term that you don't fully understand. And that's what the reporter did there. And so, like, I think maybe that's a moment when, like, after the press conference, you pull him aside and be like, bud, you don't know what you're talking about? Don't use that term anymore. But to do it in front of people and to like make a point of trying to embarrass him, like who does that serve? Like, what good does that bring to anybody?
None. And I think it was just Sean Payton wanting to be a little bit petty, which is not like super surprising for Sean Payton.
And I don't know, like maybe he has a problem with this reporter or something he wrote. Like, and coaches are notorious about, holding grudges against media members who write things that they don't appreciate. We all know that around here. Like, it's just, man, that sucks. I don't like to see people treated that way.
No.
All right.
That's all I have to say about it.
That's your social media soundbite. And if you missed it, you can always check it out again on the radio replay page at 1620thezone.com under the After Hours tab. When we come back, we're going to talk about Fred Hoiberg and the case for patience with coaches. That's coming up next on After Hours on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody. John here for Bob at Williams Law. Bob was in earlier talking about the big college basketball betting scandal, explaining things in terms that we could all understand. And if you got complicated legal issues that you need to understand better, nobody to do it like Bob Williams. He'll sit down with you for a free, no obligation legal consultation, explain your rights, get you set for your day in court, and you are going to feel confident that you understand everything that's happening in your situation, whether it's criminal, civil, or personal. If you got legal questions, you need Bob Williams in your corner. Check out WilliamsLawLLC.com.
Your Omaha area forecast from KETV Newswatch 7.
Partly to mostly cloudy tonight. Could be a few sprinkles or flurries. Low temperatures in the lower 30s. Mostly cloudy, windy, and colder Friday. Temperatures falling into the 20s. Also some snow showers around. I am Chief Meteorologist Bill Rainby from KETV Newswatch 7.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google Gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
Life is unpredictable, with seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner. You can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore your home today. Call Paul Davis Restoration at 402-553-0373 today.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Thirsty Thursday on the After Hours Lounge, 1620 The Zone. John Schreiner, Jimmy Allen's out tonight. Dan's here, Noah's here, and we got all the good sports talk you're looking for right here tonight. Okay. Final hour always brought to you by Pyramid Contractors, number one in Omaha, over a decade. Roof, gutters, siding, whatever you need, they can help you out. PyramidRoof.com is where you go to get your estimate. So, Nebraska basketball 17-0. I don't know if you guys know this. But I want you to think back to 3 years ago. And now imagine where Nebraska would be if the internet loudmouths had gotten their way and Fred Hoiberg had been fired. Because there was a large clamoring for Nebraska to move on from Fred Hoiberg. And if the brass in Lincoln had done that, I can confidently say that right now, as we sit here today, January 15th of 2026, Nebraska would not be 17-0. I don't think there's a possibility that that's the truth of the situation. And we've kind of talked about this before, but good coaches don't always get results, especially not right away. Pete Carroll.
Yes.
Bad coaches sometimes do get results. Gene Chizik.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very often really hard to determine which is which. Like, do we have a bad coach who's outperforming his actual abilities, or do we have a good coach who's in a rough patch? That's the job of an athletic director in a nutshell. Like, determining, do we have a good coach or do we have a bad coach? And that's really, really difficult. And in general, I would say my position is in favor of a longer leash. I'm more of the mind that you should let it play out for as long as possible until it becomes painfully obvious that you have to make a change. Don't make a change for the sake of making a change. I'm not even going to bring up the Tom Osborne example. But it used to be that coaches had time. You remember that we didn't even, like in the old days of college football, we didn't even really start judging a coach's performance until year 4.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like the first 3 years were almost thought of as like throwaway, right? Year 4, when they have all of their processes and all of the players that they recruited in, that's when you start judging how good they are. That's like 3 years of just like, okay, well, we might be bad for a while. That is not the case with any sport anymore. Like, if you're not good in 2 years, like, seat starts warming up, bud. And of course, like, big money shortens everything because teams feel like they can't afford to not win for more than a couple of seasons.
Yeah, well, so I want to push back a little bit on that, John, on the big money thing, because I think especially less in professional athletics and more in college athletics, there is something to, if your team is bad for a stretch and is not winning, and the fans start to notice that and start to turn, there is a butts and seats revenue problem.
Absolutely. And look, Dan, part of that is my point exactly, that coaches get paid a lot of money and the university has to fund that somehow. So if you've got a guy who you're paying money and you're not recouping that in some way, whether it's concessions or butts and seats, as you said, or, championship revenue distribution or whatever it may be,
mm-hmm.
to make that coach's salary worth it, you almost have to move on, right? Like you're forced to do it. But Fred Hoiberg is a case for, look, we have a good coach. He just needs some time. And 3 years ago, it wasn't going well for Nebraska, and people wanted him gone. They wanted a change. Like the fan base at large wanted a new basketball coach. They were ready to help Fred Hoiberg pack his house and move to another city.
Yep.
The university gave him a vote of confidence and said, we're not doing that. We're going to give him some runway. And look, it's not even to say that it works every time, but I think you're probably better off giving the runway rather than changing the guard every year and chasing a sugar high. Because that's part of what changing coaches is. It is a little shot of sugar into the fan base to re-energize the hope. And while that short-term gain might be there, I think it's bad for the long-term health of programs. And I think we're seeing that play out right now with Nebraska. And look, you're starting to get some of those rumblings on the football side of things. Like, people are not happy with Matt Rule, and it has to do with expectations. Year 1, nobody really expected that he was going to turn it around in 1 year. That was not the expectation. And then when he was a little bit better in year 2, people said, seen this pattern before, and went to a bowl game in year 2. Year 3, they're going to win 10 or 11 games because that's what Matt Rule does.
Mm-hmm.
And now that didn't happen, look where we are. There's a divide in the fan base. People calling Matt Rule the used car salesman. Like, it's not going to be good for Nebraska football to make a coaching change right now. It will not work. It won't be good. Because here's the story. The Indiana situation is both amazing and terrible. It's fabulous for parity. The portal and the NIL situation have given us back some sense that more than 3 teams have a chance to win a national title every year. And Indiana's proving that. The unpredictability that we love about college football is back. But right now, I think ADs and fans around the country are looking at this situation, and everybody's looking for their own personal Signetti, and that's not sustainable. That's not that's going to be bad for everyone. It's not realistic. Nobody's done this before, not to this extent. Bill Snyder took Kansas from the Division I laughingstock, the worst program in college football, to a contender, but it took him 15 years to do it.
Yeah. There's runway there.
And they didn't even ever play for a national title. Indiana's doing that in 2 years. The team that's lost more college football games than any other school in Power 4 history, 2 years after hiring their new coach, they're in the national championship game. It's great, and it's terrible at the same time. It's also apparent at the professional level. And look, I'm going to agree with Aaron Rodgers. Don't get used to this.
I won't. I never have.
He in the press conference after last weekend's game, he was asked about Mike Tomlin and the hot seat and all that. And he said, basically, to paraphrase, you're crazy if you want Mike Tomlin out. You're crazy if you want to fire that head coach. And the thing is, we measure everything in championships. That's cool. We all want trophies. Love trophies. Love the hardware. Trophy case looks nice. But sometimes when you chase the top, you forget to secure the base. And when the base falls away, the whole tower comes tumbling down. We have seen that so many times in sports, nowhere quite like we've seen it at Nebraska. You cut the legs out from the bottom to try and stack that onto the top, and the whole thing comes tumbling down. It's bad business. It doesn't work. Now, Indiana didn't even have a base when they hired Curt Cignetti. They were starting at ground level. If you're a team that has a good foundation built up and you're just one level from reaching the top, how often do those teams go, yeah, we need a different coach to push us over the edge?
Well, 9 out of 10.
What if that edge is a cliff? How many times have we seen that happen? Where a team is right on the precipice and they say, yeah, this guy got us here, but I don't know if he can get us any further. We're going to go a different direction. Penn State.
Yep.
Penn State. I think Alabama. And Alabama's not the right comparison, but it's in the same vein. And I've been saying this about Kalen DeBoer. I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach. But he's not Nick Saban, and he's not ever going to repeat what Nick Saban did. And for that reason, he's going to get run out of Tuscaloosa. Fans are irrational. ADs have to be more rational. And for Fred Hoiberg, he is lucky that he's had a rational athletic director, and Nebraska basketball is benefiting from it. This is one of the best teams in the country right now, and Fred Hoiberg's the architect. It's such an interesting look at the way coaching hires and fires are handled in sports right now. It's amazing. The Fred Hoiberg example is just so appropriate to look at this time. And I think it's fascinating. I'm watching every game with bated breath to see just how high this Nebraska basketball team flies. And I'm so glad that Fred Hoiberg is still the coach at Nebraska. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, give you the final closing arguments here on your Thursday night for After Hours. That's coming up next right here on 1620 The Zone. Hey, everybody, it's John Schreiner here for Allo Fiber. Allo Fiber is your place to get the best in internet services. They are the official partner of the Nebraska Cornhuskers, grown right here in the heartland. They will give you the fast speeds, the great connectivity, and the reliability that you want in your internet service provider. You got great customer service. They understand what it means to be a Nebraskan. You want something you can depend on. You want reliability. You want great customer service. Allo Fiber is the way to go. Check out allofiber.com/Husker Radio tonight.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Hey Jays fans, it's hoop season and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
AX Plumbing has the cold weather deals. So if your hot water isn't so hot anymore, you can't afford to pass up on these deals. Tankless water heaters are $450 off. Traditional water heaters are $200 off. And for those real hard water problems, water softeners are $300 off. Stop by AXP Service tonight and fix your water heater before it gets too cold outside. AX Plumbing. We'll leave your home or your business cleaner than we found it.
Everyone at Controlled Comfort hopes you had a very Merry Christmas. But that doesn't mean that the gift giving has to stop. Get a full system for $3,000 off retail price. Get ready for the Nebraska summer heat now. Call Controlled Comfort.
For all your home and business needs, Control Comfort is here to please. Control Comfort keeps it under control.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we're closing things out here on Thursday night on After Hours. John, Dan, Noah, it's time for our closing arguments. This is where we give you our final thoughts of the night and send you on your merry way to do as you will with the rest of your evening and the rest of your weekend, because we're not on tomorrow. So have fun, everybody, with that. Closing arguments tonight. We're going to start it off with me, I guess. I'll go first. All right. Come on, John. I guess I'm in control of the ship, so I will start things off here for our closing arguments. My closing argument tonight has to do with the state of gambling in sports. Now, we talked to Bob Williams about this earlier, and I made some of my thoughts known, but I want to restate them here again, because this was the big story of the day, was the big college basketball gambling scandal where a bunch of players and former players were indicted for fixing games. And listen, I know it looks bad. I know the headlines make you think that the state of betting on sports is worse than it's ever been. But I'll tell you this. The fact that people are getting arrested and charged, punished for breaking the law is a good thing. Because in days past, those people were still doing these things, but they weren't getting caught for them. And be careful when you're talking about correlation and causation. They're not equal. There may be a correlation between the rise of legalized betting and the number of arrests for people who are improperly affecting the outcomes of games for financial gain. That doesn't mean it's the cause. The cause is the increased monitoring. These arrests, this situation that we're in right now, where people are being punished for breaking the rules, this is good. This is what is supposed to happen in a functioning legal society.
I like that. I didn't think that was where you were going to specifically go with it, but I appreciate that take. It's a good take. My closing argument of the night is the more and more I hear from him in regards to the PGA and LIV situation. Big surprise, Dan's going golf.
Knew you were going here. I knew it.
Rory, I gotta say, I'm gonna stay in his corner for as long as I possibly can. Came out to the Telegraph of London just today and said, it's not like they've made any huge signings this year, is it? In reference to LIV. They haven't signed anyone who moves the needle, and I don't think they will. They could re-sign Bryson for hundreds of millions of dollars, but even if they do, it doesn't change their product, does it? They'll still just be playing for the exact same thing. With the re-entrance of Brooks Koepka and the sort of, I guess you would call it, penalty that they've placed upon him for being with LIV for so long and then now coming back to the PGA Tour, I like the way that they're going about it. I do, however, worry that it is going to cause some golfers who are already in LIV who don't have the same monetary base that Brooks Koepka does with the Nike contract and some of the more lucrative endorsements that he has to willingly come back and have to pay a fine and give up their player equity for 5 straight years. Now, that is to say, LIV is in a sticky situation here because they've got Jon Rahm and Cam Smith and Bryson DeChambeau currently who have all said, we're here for the long haul. We're in it to win it. We're going to be part of LIV. It's great. And that's all well and good. But when you hear from that organization that they haven't quite worked out Bryson's contract yet, and he has been very public about saying it's still an ongoing process to get my contract negotiated with LIV, that gives me pause. That makes me think that there's possibly something that LIV wants that Bryson doesn't want to give up, a la, I'm going to speculate that it is most likely his extremely lucrative YouTube career that he has going right now. The payouts that he's been getting on those are beginning to dwarf possibly some of his sponsorships that he has. And it is a new way and a fun way for him to get his sponsors more airtime and more, word of mouth through his YouTube channel. So I've got a good feeling that we're going to go over the clock.
Yeah. I just think it's short-sighted of the PGA Tour to not welcome everybody back with open arms.
So that's what confuses me, is they're welcoming them back with open arms, but they're imposing a penalty on them.
That's not open arms.
So I would disagree, John, because I think
it's what I told you earlier. We have to give people space to change their mind.
True. And I want to give them space to change their mind, but I also think that making Brooks Koepka, who is coming back for a very specific reason, is a lot different than like a Jon Rahm, who would just come back and be like, I'm here, nothing happened.
Noah, closing argument quickly.
So I know this is like 2 months ago, but Chris Paul getting released by the Clippers just for calling a defensive play against the Hawks was just absolutely absurd. And I was just shocked when I heard about that.
All right. No, Houston weighs in on Chris Paul. All right. If you missed any of the show tonight, you can always check it out, re-listen to it on the radio replay page on 1620thezone.com. Just click on the After Hours tab. That's where you'll find all of our past segments, episodes, whatever you want. It's all right there. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Thanks to the Night Shift for checking in tonight and sticking with us here on the YouTubes. And thanks to Dan for producing the show. Thanks to Noah Houston for sitting in as the intern. I'm John Schreiner. Happy National Pothole Day.
Winter may slow pests down, but it's the perfect time to prepare your home for spring. Rodents, spiders, and other pests often show up indoors this time of year. A winter pest control checkup helps seal entry points now so you're not dealing with pests when warmer weather hits. At Recon Pest Services, we're proud to be a local company and supporting causes that make Omaha better. If you're looking for a pest control partner or even support for a cause, think Recon. Visit reconpestservices.com and get your home ready for a pest-free spring.
If your brand isn't generating you business, well, it's losing. That's where Sign Ovation steps in. We help Omaha businesses win the visibility game with bold storefront signs and vehicle decals that turn your ride into a rolling billboard. Your brand should be working, even when you're not. Driving impressions, creating leads, and bringing customers through the door. Stop riding the bench. Put your brand in the game. Visit OmahaSignsAndWraps.com tonight. That's OmahaSignsAndWraps.com. Sign Ovation, where brands show up and win.
At Timber, they don't just give you a place to go for lunch or dinner. They give you an experience. From their bold, smoky flavors prepared in the open concept kitchen where you get to watch the magic happen to the relaxing umbrella-shaded patio. There's something for everyone at Timber. Join them for brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 9:30 to 2, plus happy hour from 2 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday and 2 to close on Sunday. Timberwood Fire Bistro in the heart of Omaha at 84th and Pacific.
Life is unpredictable, with seasonal storms and plumbing issues hiding around every corner. You can't predict the future. So when life happens, go with a trusted, reputable company like Paul Davis Restoration. Fire, water, mold, or storm damage can all be restored by Paul Davis Restoration. Don't live in the aftermath of tragedy. Restore your home today. Call Paul Davis Restoration at 402-553-0373 today.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.